Hi, welcome to It Takes Two Takes. My name is Adam, and with me is Andrew, and we're here to talk about Umbrella Academy Season 2. And this is the second season of this show that is Netflix exclusive. It just came out last weekend. We've both had a chance to watch the full season, so we're here to give you our review on it. If you have not seen this season, highly recommend you watch that first because this will be laced with a lot of spoilers. And if you have seen it and you just want to kind of find out what our opinion is, then definitely stick around. So I guess first off, Andrew, what's your thoughts? This was a show that you really liked. Like, I didn't watch season 1 until a couple of weeks ago because it didn't look interesting to me. But you liked season 1. And so you were more anxious, I think, for this show than I was. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely anxious. I did, and not to spend a lot of time on season 1, but I did enjoy it. I certainly warmed up to it more and more over time as far as the first season goes. But I like the characters. I like the absurdity of it. I sort of like the warped sense of humor and really the source material, which I haven't read all of the comics, but it's really bizarre. And the fact that Netflix took over this property is pretty cool. And I liked season 2 even more than season 1. I feel like it really hit its stride, both from a character standpoint and really just kind of getting the plot to, take off. I mean, you could look at it high level and say, okay, well, the premise of season 2 is sort of an apocalypse yet again, but we kind of have this sandbox for these characters that are playing it, and these characters I feel like have improved drastically, and I could probably confidently say that about each one of them, some more than others, but overall I really enjoyed it. I know that, again, like you said, it took you some time. I understand, and I think I even told you, Adam, like, I'm not willing to sit here and tell you must watch this show. However, I don't know what else you're just completely turning off if you couldn't even make it through the first season of the show, because I don't think it's that kind of show that you absolutely just need to walk out of. You know what I mean? So, yeah, back to you. What did you think?
Uh, I think the fact it was getting such good reviews and everything like that made me, for second season, made me intrigued. The first season, I told you, during episode 2, I was struggling to continue watching.
It's a lot of exposition.
It was the end of season 4, or episode 4, that I think that I started to find it a little bit more intriguing. But after I got done with the season, I'm sitting here thinking, well, I like Klaus. I like number 5. I didn't really care for any of the other characters, and it just kind of fell flat with me, and I didn't really think it was that good. So I was really reluctant to go into season 2. But with the reviews on it and everything being much higher than season 1 was, I thought, okay, well, I'll give it a couple of episodes at least and see if season 2 is an improvement. And it was. It was a drastic improvement, in my opinion, in season 1. I think it caught me right from the first episode. And I think to a certain extent, I think they probably planned some of that, doing that, showing that Doomsday and showing them all fighting, at their kind of full potential during that fight with the Soviets, I think really helped kind of pull you in going, oh, wow, they can do that? Because we haven't seen them do any of that.
Yeah, like the first 7 minutes, it was a very, sort of endgame moment, I feel like, from an Avengers reference, right? Like, it was just seeing everyone at the peak of their powers, and it was pretty impressive. It clearly stepped up the budget in the second season.
And the first season, as far as Ben goes, most of the time, if he was using his abilities, all you saw were through frosted glass or something. You never really saw, I think, in first season, him truly using his abilities. And then, you see it, even as a ghost, but you see his full abilities and full effect. And so, yeah, I thought it hit the ground running a lot better than the last one. And I was intrigued by the storyline of, they've all been jumped back to right before Kennedy's assassination. And so I thought that was neat. And I thought the way they kind of played into the apocalypse and how they ultimately get to it, ultimately because a lot of it being Diego's fault, but they made the characters, and I'll agree with you, they made the characters a lot better. I feel like Allison was rather boring for most of the episode because she was playing that wife civil rights role the whole time. So her character, I don't think, got to cut loose as much as a lot of the other characters did. At least in my opinion. I mean, she had a few moments, but I think the biggest growth of a character I saw in second season was probably Luther, right? He was so boring in the first season, in my opinion. And the second season, he was actually really fun. When he was flipping off 5 through the hole in the wall and stuff like that, you know?
Right.
I think they had a lot more fun and growth with his character than any of the others.
Speaking of characters, I mean, like regarding Luther, I do feel like he kind of settled in as a character. He's now, there's a more humor to him, but he's also kind of the target of a lot of the jokes in the second season. And in a way, it kind of makes it almost I don't know, it's like a more endearing character because of it. So It's him. It's also Diego. Like both of them, there were moments where I'm like, I don't remember them being this kind of dumb in the first season, but I don't dislike it. In other words, like Diego has always been an act first, think later type character, and they really leaned into that in the second season. Everything from him determined to stop the assassination of JFK. Like I was sitting there going, like, are we really like? Why does he care so much all of a sudden about this compared to anything else? But over time, I just kind of accepted it. Like this is just this character now. That's fine. Like, and what you said about Allison. I don't fully feel the same way. I do feel like her arc was very interesting to me.
It was interesting, but I think her character was like the main serious character, I thought, of the whole thing. She really didn't get to have, I think most of the characters got to have a little bit more fun than her character
Yes
did.
And no. I know what you're saying, but keep in mind, one, Allison is a character that I feel like didn't get enough to work with in the first season. And from a topic standpoint and from like really like the ability to step up as a character without actually using her powers, granted she used them later, but she figured out how to kind of do something as a person without relying on her powers because she had completely shunned them through most of the second season. From a character growth standpoint, I was completely on board with her. My issue was Vanya's character, in my opinion. As a plot device, I can even get past the fact that we're kind of repeating what happened in the first season because of the fact that these characters have grown by the end of the second season. And it's interesting to see how they handle a similar scenario by the time that it inevitably comes around that Vanya is going to, potentially cause another apocalypse. But with Vanya, I really wasn't feeling her storyline. Like this whole, like, I'm out at the farm, I've lost my memory, I'm going to have a romantic interest in this woman that is married. Like it just, I didn't care enough. And they spent enough time on it to where I was like, you can't spend this much time on this when you're not making me care enough about that. That was my one character. I feel like the little side story, I didn't care.
The farm stuff, I think, fell flat. Even with the kid and getting some of her powers and that to a certain extent. Now he might play into season 3.
He might.
So it's her. They did go into the farm stuff way too much. I think I enjoyed some of the amnesia moments though, like as they were explained to her, like what happened and what she doesn't know. I thought that was kind of fun because they got to have fun with things, like when Luther just sits there and says,
"Yeah. He's an asshole."
Such an asshole.
Right.
He explains to her that she was the one who caused the first apocalypse and that. And I thought they were able to lean into that a little bit. Even Diego, the first time he sees her, has got his knife out and talk about how she was holding him up with an energy tentacle and everything. They had some really great, I think, new characters that were also a lot of fun. The guy they were all staying with pretty much, who was the conspiracy theorist, and they're just all crashing with him. He was a lot of fun in a lot of those moments. So I thought that was a lot of fun. And
the Swedes, awesome.
Yeah, the Swedes were fun, especially their obsession with the cats and everything.
Yeah.
And they did what I one of my complaints about the first season was, okay, well, there was more than 7 of these kids born on this very specific time.
43,
right,
maybe?
At this very specific time, this very specific day. But season 1, you never see any of them.
Right.
And finally with season 2, you get one, right?
Yeah.
Here's
Lila.
one that was born, but was, kind of taken. And 5 even played a part in that, right? So I thought that was really good. So I liked the introduction to the new characters. And we got to learn a little bit more about the commission and how it operates.
You'll find a wide array of exciting career opportunities just waiting to be discovered. Which department will be right for you? Analyst, keeping us informed. Operations, keeping us safe. Hi-ya! Infinite switchboard operator, the key to everything we do here.
And I thought that was neat as well.
We did. Yeah, I thought that was I could probably make an argument that I feel like from a villain standpoint, it wasn't as concrete or interesting to me in the second season, but it really didn't matter because I feel like the strength in this season was the character development of all of the Umbrella Academy children, and then also like we talk about, I kind of briefly mentioned the larger budget, but I feel like the set pieces were bigger. There was more variety with the scenery. It just felt like a bigger, endeavor, and I appreciated that. So,
the one thing I will say I was not overly thrilled with was they made a big production over, Ben sacrificing himself, and then we get into pretty much the end of the season, and oh look, the timelines change and Ben's alive, right?
Yeah, but is it that same Ben?
It's
you know
not
what I mean?
it's
Like,
not-
does
it-
that take
it-
away from what he did in the end of the second season?
And I get it to a certain extent.
His hair is very different.
His hair is very different, and his attitude's very different.
not
He
very
obviously
good,
doesn't know
but yeah.
them. But it was one of those things where, had they left him dead for a season, okay, or even if it had been a surprise that we introduce him, you don't see him until actually in season 3, right? It would have. I felt like it negated that sacrifice way too early. Like they could have let you lingered on that for at least until season 3 comes out, and then said, "Guess what? There's an alternate Ben." I don't think. I would have liked to have not seen him show up at the very end.
I understand what you're saying, but ultimately it's like, okay, well, the Sparrow Academy or whatever. Like, I don't ultimately, I haven't gotten to that part in the graphic novel, so I don't really know the whole story behind that. But what I would say is, I can only hope that there's a reason that Ben is integral in that actually being important. So in other words, the end of the second season with his appearance is leading into something bigger than we feel it could potentially be based on how big his storyline ended.
I think they could have not had Ben. I think it could have still been a great ending of, oh my God, there's
they had a painting of Ben though. Like it feels very very centerpiece and important. That's the tease.
The painting of Ben would have been great to have as a tease if you didn't show Ben, right? Because it was the painting of 5. So now you're like, why is there a painting of Ben? But if they didn't show Ben, his sacrifice could have still been really heavy, and you could still think, well, maybe he still died. But then to have him show up in season 3 would have been a much bigger surprise, or even to tease him in the teasers and the trailers for season 3. Like I said, to me it was too soon. It felt like it kind of negated that emotional impact they had just had with Ben. So for me,
I don't agree with you on that one though, because I feel like his appearance, to me, that's not the Ben that we experienced in the first season or two. Like, it's
not, and I get that it's not the same Ben, but from will this character return, or will the actor even return for season 3? That would have been a nice cliffhanger of not knowing that. I think it's that we just killed this person and now we brought him right back again. Okay, well now that whole dramatic death that you just created, that you did all this work to create an emotional impact with he gives a secret message to Klaus and everything like that. I felt like it would have lingered more. Like you kind of like killed it as soon as you did that to me.
But to what you're saying, that adds to what they were doing. In other words, they knew that there was this sort of moment of closure for the character. There was this moment of release for the character. They knew that. They played into the weight of that to say, not only did we make you have to let go of this character and see this very satisfying moment of him hugging Vanya and letting go, F you. Like, we brought him back, and that's the tease. That is the moment of saying, we're messing with everything, and you better be ready.
Yeah,
that to me was the message.
That's fine if they hadn't done this whole emotional death on him and everything like that, right? I
think they knew that, and they were playing into exactly that. That's
and maybe that worked for you. For me, what it did was the emotional high goes way up because, oh man, Ben sacrificed himself. He had that special message for Klaus and everything, and oh man, that was so great. And
right,
then
new Ben doesn't have that message.
Then the new Ben shows up, and it's just like, boom. For me, it killed it for me. It's like that high that you just that high you just created for me about that character, you just negated because I know now there's an alternate Ben we're going to deal with for season 3.
I don't know. I see the alternate Ben as an entirely different character. It meant nothing to me in regards to how I ended the storyline of the quote unquote real Ben. Like that was it for him.
For me, it lessened it. On a better topic though, I like the fact that Klaus had a cult. I thought that was great.
And by the way, is that cult that cult has to come back in 2019, assuming they're staying there, regardless of Sparrow Academy or whatever. Tell me that cult is now
like been Scientology big or something like that.
Right, right. Or completely underground. No matter what, I imagine their minds if they see that Klaus is now the same age but living in 2019.
Right. I think that could be so much fun for season 3, right? Like they need some place to go. Oh look, Klaus's cult will give you some place to stay since your quote unquote father doesn't want you in the Sparrow Academy.
Right.
So yeah, I think that could be a lot of fun for season 3. So I think they've definitely left it open to keep that going.
And I like that the only remaining Swede actually joined it. So.
Yeah, well, he at least took a ride. We don't know that he's actually become part of the cult.
I choose to believe he joined it, but, you know.
To me, it was kind of like that moment for me, harkened almost a little bit back to the very end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off where the principal gets on the school bus. It's like, I need a ride. Oh, God, I don't really want to ride with them, but I don't really have a better option.
Right.
So, that's what it almost felt like to me a little bit, So, yeah, I thought him having a cult and him even like he built this cult now wants to get away from it. Fantastic. Like I was all for that.
Yeah, it was definitely a stretch for the character. I feel like he would have just reveled in it, but we got to experience and jump into that sort of story where he's kind of just like you said, like he's like, yeah, I can't take this anymore. He's trying to crawl away from them. He's trying to expose himself as a fraud, and he just cannot convince them otherwise.
And Ghost Ben fell in love with a girl who's part of the cult.
Right. Yeah. Right. And yeah.
And then we learned another ability of Klaus's, which is to be able to be possessed by a spirit.
Well, technically, so was Vanya, right?
Yeah.
Is it really Ben's ability, right? You know what I mean? But I enjoyed all of that. It added to the story. I think Klaus's character had a lot of great moments. He's always been kind of the comic relief, but I do feel like that we've always felt for how much like he was just beat down in life. And this kind of added to that. He kind of had his moment, and you can see what he does with an extreme amount of success. He still can't really deal with it. He still wants some sort of outlet that we haven't quite explored or experienced yet. But if I were to nitpick, like you kind of went with the Ben thing, it's 2 areas. One, the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack of both the first season and this current season, but I am going to nitpick about the fact that as high as the soundtrack really, like the highs of the soundtrack, there were also some lows. Like I felt like there were some odd choices at time. Like why are we playing Billy Idol in the 60s? Why are we playing a song by Kiss? Why are we doing a cover of Gnarls Barkley, which, by the way, is titled Crazy, and it's Diego in an asylum? Like, it's on the nose.
And the funeral scene, wasn't that a Swedish version of Adele?
Yes. So don't get me wrong. I love the absurdity. Like for instance, I love when Klaus gives his random advice.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to.
And he's using lyrics from like TLC, and then he uses the lyrics from Backstreet Boys, and they start playing Everybody, Backstreet's Back. Like they play the song, but
Right.
it tied into what he said. And we know that they're from 2019, even though it's an
Right.
alternate 2019. Like I can accept some of it, but there were times where I was just like, man, I love them hitting these songs like in the 60s, boom, boom, boom. And then it was like, why are we listening to Billy Idol right now? Like it just, there were some moments where I was like, it took me out of it. Nitpick number 2. And this isn't so much nitpicking. I feel like it's more of a word of caution to anyone that is like me, where I do feel like when you deal with time travel, it does put a strain on the rules of the universe, right?
Right.
There's so much to consider. The less you try to dig into those rules, arguably the better, unless you do it in a pristine way. What this show does well is that they play into the absurdity of what it is. They show that the characters are flawed. They show that the characters are going to struggle no matter what, and that helps. However, there are times...
I'm hoping we get a backstory on the fish guy. I'm really hoping...
He was so interesting to me. I was almost pissed at, like that they killed him off. I was like, I don't really care that much about the handler compared to this guy. And then they just boom.
Well, they didn't really exactly kill him off. He was in the fish tank.
She could be in a... Yeah, he could be down a main drain somewhere and running out into a river. But
right. Well, no. She swallowed him, didn't she?
She did, but she didn't chew him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works.
But yeah, the idea that there was this overly intelligent like goldfish, controlling a body, that was super interesting to me. So it's like
smoking it cracked me up.
Oh
like
yeah,
the rings popping. He was like eating it. It was the best.
Yeah, and we got to see 5. Take out the board, of executives for the commission.
That was cool.
Yeah, I mean, he just leaned straight in. And I did get a lot of humor out of like the interaction between, the two versions of himself. And
that
Luther
was really well done.
Luther happened to kind of like act as the referee between them,
right.
and each one of them trying to manipulate Luther, like saying, no, he's compromised, no, he's compromised. That was really good. That was, the actor who does 5 does a great job with that character.
Yeah, Aidan Gallagher is the actor's name. He's fantastic.
You believe he is a 55-year-old man stuck in a teenage body. You totally believe it.
And in fairness, whoever they casted for the older 5, I know I recognize him in some things. He's been around for decades, but who they cast for him, like he did a really good job of mimicking the performance of the younger 5 of Aidan Gallagher. Like I felt like it was, I don't know, it was very interesting the way that they conducted themselves, the way they argued with Luther. Like it felt very much like, oh yeah, that's 5. That was really well done.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought also, we got a little bit of an origin story on their android mother. Finding out she was a real person that had been dating their father. And so I thought that was really neat because that really played in Diego's character because he was always much more emotional about her. And so that really helped playing into his character quite a bit.
It helped play with his character. And you bring this up, we were talking about Sparrow Academy. It does make me wonder, was the reason that this, and I don't know, again, I haven't read that portion of the comics, was the reason that the Sparrow Academy existed because of Diego's interference with their mother, right? Because, he warned her, she found out about his plans of, the JFK assassination and everything like that. Like she knew something, and it changed the course of history in regards to that dynamic. Is it possible that her influence, that kind of nurturing influence, was not in the picture? I mean, I can only speculate going into season 3.
It could, but at the same time, I suspect him meeting them all to begin with was the big catalyst of things. But
but what could surprise that guy? He's an alien. Like,
right?
I know what you're saying, but.
And that was another interesting part they let you know about him, right? Was that season 1, they don't give you any indication he's not a human. And it's season.
They hint at it a little bit. The only reason they do that, and here's where it's weird, and not to take away from the show, like they have their own agenda with it, but like in the comics, the very first issue, they make it very clear that he is an alien. They don't say much else, but he is an alien. And I feel like they concealed that a bit as the series began. So it was interesting to see him unveil and pull off his mask, because they allude to that in the first issue of the comics, like where they just show his mask sitting on a chair and they have this image of it. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was, I get what you're saying. I just wanted to throw in and kind of interject and say, it's interesting that they made that the big reveal in season 2, where like they kind of held that close to the vest in the first season.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with season 3. I did enjoy season 2 a lot better than season 1.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely much more likely to give season 3 a good shot, and hopefully it's interesting. But yeah, I enjoyed season 2. I didn't like season 1, but I enjoyed season 2 quite a bit. So that's my final thought was, the characters were a lot better. The storyline was a lot more interesting. I didn't feel like it dragged nearly as much as season 1 did, trying to get to whatever plot points it was trying to do. And I think the growth of the characters and the introduction of the new characters was all done really well, and I enjoyed it. I'm definitely looking forward to what they do with season 3. And your final thoughts?
Well, look, it's as simple as this. Adam barely enjoyed season 1, and he really liked season 2. I liked season 1, and I liked season 2 even more. So whatever boat you fall in, you're going to like season 2. If you stopped watching season 2 or season 1 midway through, finish it. Go watch season 2. That's all I can say. I don't even know what to tell you.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I don't know. What's your thoughts on this? Leave us some comments below what you thought of season 2. Maybe you found a little nugget we didn't talk about that you'd like to bring up, and let us know. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you like the channel, please subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Adam here. If you like this video, go ahead and check out our other videos. And if you like this channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hope to see you again real soon. Bye.